Hello, everybody, and welcome to yet another episode of the Elite City Podcast. Before we get started, I just have one question. What kind of man carries around a belt that he hasn't won? Anyways, what a quote. But we're going to get there. But before we get started this week, I just want to send out a reminder, which we're supposed to do this every week, but we're just learning now. Everybody, please follow us at Elite City Pod on all social media. Like, comment, subscribe, do it all. Pass it along, retweet. It helps us, and in the end, it'll help you. So
yeah, and subscribe on like Spotify or whatever you use.
Yes,
Apple Podcasts or whatever it is that you use to listen to podcasts. Subscribe on there and rate us because that helps too.
Oh yes, rate.
Just thought of that one.
Yeah. So that's all. Little general housekeeping at the beginning, but we always forget to do that. And you guys kind of do your job when you remember, but it's not up to you. It's up to us. So,
right.
Thank you.
Also, breaking news, we're rebranding the podcast as X.
Yes.
It's a brand new idea that I just thought of right now. I'm pretty sure it's a unique idea. I haven't been on the internet much in the last couple of days, but I'm pretty sure that I'm the first one to think of this, and it's a great idea.
Absolutely. It is the most... I'm going to go X about it now. Unreal. Anyways.
Good week for AEW.
Great week for AEW. A lot of fun was had. The internet was mad, so that means AEW did its job.
That means AEW existed. So the internet is
yeah. I don't know. People don't know how to have fun, apparently, or it's too serious, or it's not serious enough, or it's too silly. I don't get it. Just be happy. Like, these people must hate everything. Correct?
And you could just not watch the show.
Not even AEW based though. But how could you literally hate everything? I mean, I do a pretty good job at hating a majority, but there's some things that bring me joy.
Right. Yeah, you find something.
Yeah. Anyways, it was just fun. We're gonna get right into it. MJF and Adam Cole are probably the most hilarious thing on television right now.
I was no joke. I was watching I watched the show late. I didn't watch Dynamite live. I didn't watch any of the shows live this week actually. But I watched it at 10 o'clock at night by myself and sitting by myself, just laughing, actually laughing out loud. Yes. Because they're hilarious. They're absolutely hilarious.
It was literally in our little group text. Oh, by the way, Biddy's not here. We should probably say that.
Sorry. Yeah, Biddy's not here. In case you're wondering why this podcast is 30% less interesting.
Yes.
It's because Biddy's not here.
Yeah, we were not just talking over her.
That would be really bad if Biddy is just here just waiting to say something and we just
and we're
we just refuse. We're no, we'll get to Biddy later.
Yeah. Yes. She's away for the next couple weeks. She has some work to do, so she'll be back.
Yes.
So Biddy, we miss you. And as you can tell, it's off the rails already. So
I just want to say when back to MJF and Adam Cole.
Yes.
When MJF came out first, and then they played the remix theme.
Oh yeah.
And it was a mashup theme. Him going, "It's a mashup," was just being so delighted by. I was so happy. I was incredibly happy. Just his reaction to the fact that they mashed up their themes was so great. It was so wonderful. I loved it.
Everything about it it's just so fun. It has a very late 90s DX feel to it.
Yeah, I was thinking also Rock and Sock Connection stuff.
Yeah. Yes. Because that they're not going to be like that in the ring per se, but they're going to throw a little bit of it in because they're going to take that part seriously. But when the camera's rolling,
yeah. I mean, they did start with a dance off, which I also thought was hilarious.
Unbelievably amazing. It was spot on. And the fact that Adam Cole can't, of course, MJF can dance too. Like,
right.
like at first I was like, oh, he's going to be bad at it. Then I was like, oh, wow, I was wrong on that.
Yes.
It's like, okay, Adam Cole's the bad one.
I love because I don't think we can even talk about it adequately because it was just like, I can't be as funny as it just is to watch.
Right.
Just watch it. Like you can't be as good as just watching it. Like no commentary is required. It's incredible. I know they're going to break up. Like they have to at some point, but they could do this for several more months and I would be entertained every single, it's great. It's wonderful.
It is. Well, okay. Since you brought it up, how do you think it's going to end?
Yeah, I did like your idea of Roderick Strong being the one who gets upset and breaks them up, either attacks MJF and makes Adam Cole mad or attacks Adam Cole because he's mad. Like, I think that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
But if we're trying to get to like an MJF Adam Cole match, which one of them has to turn on the other one, and it would make sense, the most sense for MJF to turn on Adam Cole because he set this up as a way to turn on Adam,
right
to like lure Adam Cole in and then attack him. It would make sense for him to be the one to turn, but also Adam Cole seems, at least was, aware of what's going on and seems like he might be smart enough to turn first before MJF turns on him. But also they could just actually legitimately be becoming friends. So True. I don't know.
Yeah, there's so many what ifs right now, and that's what makes it fun.
What I want to know is, do they ever hit the double clothesline, or do they break up before they hit it?
Oh, that's a good question. It's so dumb. It's so good though. It's like the dumbest move.
That's the thing. I think I said this last week. MJF is so good at making like basic moves amazing. Like a headlock takeover, or like when he hit the body slam on Big Bill, or like now they're hyping up like a double. Like none of these are. There's guys like Commander who run across the ropes and do 6 flips in the air, and then MJF does a clothesline and like gets like 10 times the reaction.
Right.
It's wonderful.
Speaking of him comparing Big Bill to Andre the Giant and calling it the Saskatoon Silver Dome, and Adam Cole just looking at him going, what? Huh? That's not what happened. That's not what happened at all.
To be fair, I didn't love their video thing this week when it had them eating the spicy food. It was I thought it was fine.
That was
It was okay, but like their match was
the match
it was amazing.
The match.
I don't even remember the wrestling part of the match. I just remember the funny parts of the match, and that's perfectly fine because it was great.
I couldn't even tell you who they wrestled. I'm honest. I'm being honest with you.
Sammy and Danny.
Oh, that's right. It was the finals. See, there you go. That overshadowed the finals of that stupid tournament.
Right.
I
know the whole tournament. The whole tournament was just to get them together.
Right.
And again, that's perfectly fine. Like, just if they weren't entertaining, we'd be complaining that the tournament was useless, but they're incredibly entertaining, so that's fine.
All this old stuff that Tony Khan is bringing back, like that lottery tag tournament thing, is just, I didn't even realize stuff like that was phased out because we were so programmed of how it's just like we complained about it, saying like we didn't know anything about it, this, that, the other, but like we're really not supposed to.
Right.
If you go by the old way, it was like, oh, the show would start, there'd be somebody mixing up the lottery balls and like, oh, it's a mixed tag tournament this week. Oh, okay.
Right.
Nobody questioned it. And I don't know. Just a little.
That's the thing. Like, I 100% know that wrestling obviously is different now than it was 40 years ago, 50 years ago. Like, guaranteed. Like, there's the internet, there's a million channels, there's whatever, social media. So of course it's not going to be, you can't do a wrestling program the same way you did in the 1960 when guys traveled from town to town and you didn't know who they were because they just hadn't come to your town yet, but they did the same match. They did the same match, 4 different towns, and you just didn't know. Right? I understand that you can't do wrestling the same way anymore, but you also don't need to do wrestling the way wrestling has been done for the last 20 years. Like, you can do it differently, and like you don't have to book all the matches. Maybe 1 week you do book all the matches in advance and you tell everybody exactly what to expect, and then the next week you don't do that, and that's also fine. Like, it doesn't have to be the same every week.
Right, and it's.
And it's not a sport. So like, yes, in football, they don't go, the Pittsburgh Steelers are facing a mystery opponent and you don't know who it is, like that, like, obviously. Right. But it's not a sport. So like you can do stuff. You can, like, they would never do that in the Olympics, be like, we're going to partner 2 countries together in this basketball game. Like, no, of course not. But this is not a sport. So you can do that. Like,
I think I've told you this story. Me and my buddies would always talk about.
Though I do think if they had mystery opponents in football, it'd be great.
Oh, well, that's basically what I'm alluding to. Me and my buddies, we would get drunk and we would come up with these scenarios. And we were all hockey fans. So we always like brought it down to like Crosby be on a breakaway and then just like stop and like rip off his jersey. And it would be like a Rangers jersey. And everybody like, no. And like in wrestling, that makes perfect sense.
I mean, there is some wrestling stuff that like it would make sports more entertaining, like that. Like midway through the game, someone switches jerseys and he was on the other team all along. Like, yeah, that would be kind of fun. Like, imagine if that happened, like that, or like a Money in the Bank cash in. Your team wins the Stanley Cup and is about to raise it, and another team's like, "No, we're cashing in," and they beat you and take the stand. Like that would be outstanding.
That would be incredible, actually. Like you just win. That's the year they implement. That would be the year the Leafs won.
Yes, so and they wouldn't actually get it because Montreal would cash in on them.
I was just gonna say Montreal would cash in, and it would be the biggest riot.
So, anyways. Like you could add, it's not an actual sport. Like you don't need to be. The people who are just like, well, it doesn't make any sense that they would, like the main event on Collision, I saw people complaining, oh, it doesn't make any sense that they would book a Collision episode and not have a main event, and then the main event would just get booked during the first segment. Well, no, it's not real. None of this is real. Right. So, like, of course that wouldn't work. There's never do you see like a hockey team, another hockey team just comes and goes, why don't we play this game right now? Like, no, of course not. But it's wrestling. So you can. So why not? Yeah. Why not do it? Like,
I mean, it's literally the only sport where the rules kind of exist.
Right. They exist enough. Like they have to exist enough so that like you can break the rules or you can like know what you. But they don't have to like really exist. Right.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I don't know.
Anyway, MJF, Adam Cole, hilarious stuff. I love it. I hope they last forever. I know they won't. Do you think they break up this week, like during the match with FTR?
I think this is where it starts. They're going to do, in my opinion, I think they're going to do like the old school tag team breakup and make it last like a few weeks.
Right.
And then that will lead to the match.
Yeah.
I don't think it'll be I don't think it'll be cut and dry.
I do. Yeah, I hope that that's the case. Like they don't. It's not just like in the middle of the match, MJF attacks Adam Cole and that's it, and it's over.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I kind of think maybe they'll lose this match, or there'll be some miscommunication. Adam Cole will go to tag MJF, and he won't be able to make the tag or something. And then it'll slowly, and they'll I hope that's the case because that would be more interesting.
And you got this much invested into it, and people love it. So. You don't want to take it away yet, but you also don't want it to overstay its welcome.
Right. Now, do you think they're facing it all in, or are they facing it all out? Because they've been booking all out matches, but they haven't booked any all in matches yet.
See, I've been thinking about that, and I've been pondering. Either one works, obviously, especially because it's their first show in Europe, so it doesn't necessarily have to be like a super duper card. I mean, it's going to be, but it doesn't have to be like a Forbidden Door type opponent. Like
I'm starting to think it probably won't be a Forbidden Door type show because you're right. It doesn't have to be. It just has to be entertaining and it will be.
Right. So,
but it doesn't have to be like dream match after dream match after dream match. It could. Yeah.
Right. There could be like storyline stuff involved too. So, I mean, you know what? For Europe and everybody over there's sake, I hope they do it there. We'll do it that way.
Yeah.
And
I did hear Kenny Omega say talking about the two different shows, saying that they want to try to make them different. They don't want to have like
Oh, okay.
They don't want to have like the same 20 guys on one show and then the same 20 guys on the show a week later. Not that there's going to like be a roster split or anything, but they're going to try to feature different people and different matches and different stuff on each show because they're so close to each other. So like CM Punk is probably going to be in both because he's going to be in UK and then the next pay-per-view is in Chicago. But maybe, Kenny Omega's only going to be on one, or MJF's only going to be on one, or something like that.
It makes sense for the world title to only be on one of them because they're like 6 days apart, literally, aren't they?
Right. Yeah.
So like I would take it all in having the or do something.
Or they could do like a early 90s WWF thing. Like remember when Undertaker beat Hogan for the title and then they're like, but we're having another pay-per-view in 3 days and they're having a rematch. Like they could do that. They could have MJF versus Adam Cole, and then it ends with like a not clear finish, and then they book it again in a cage or something for All Out.
True, I'll take that. Tony Khan does like his tournaments though, so maybe have a tournament that ends at All In to face MJF at All Out.
Okay, yeah, that would work too. We haven't had a tournament in a couple minutes, so you might need another one.
I would, they could do it all in one night. That would be sick.
That would be fun. Yeah.
I would be hell for whoever won it because then you'd have to fly back to the United States, be jet lagged.
The rest of like 3 matches and then fly back. Yeah.
And then what? Hey, once a year. Anyways, so I don't know. Yeah, I'll take that. That'll be my scenario. Tournament it all in for the belt against MJF at All Out. Or yeah, there's too many alls.
Yeah, and they're like a week away. Yeah, but it'll be fun. Not to go off on a tangent, they haven't announced how they're going to show All In.
Correct.
And the internet theory, which probably is true, is I've heard they're trying to work on showing it on like Max or HBO Max or whatever it's called these days. But they're not sure if because I don't think they haven't showed anything live on there, like a live event.
I gotcha.
And they're not sure if it'll be 100% ready for that. And the fallback is like a 2-for-1 pay-per-view. Like you buy both of them for whatever price and you get them both. So
I'll take either because
I feel like it could be like you buy All Out for $50 or you pay $60 and you get both of them or something, right? Like that might be it. Or so I don't know. We'll see.
You just said that. And I mean, I know the world's changed now with streaming services and all this, but they're talking about AEW expanding their pay-per-view to just expanding. They didn't necessarily say 12, but we already have 4. So, I mean,
5, I think, right?
Well, 5.
Forbidden Door.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's already 5. So it's really not adding that many. I would wonder if AEW, like, to stay like quote unquote cutting edge, I wonder if they would sell like a season pass for just their pay-per-views and say, hey, if you, I don't know, just make a day, January 1st, it's $200, but you get all the pay-per-views, but you have to pay up front.
I mean, Fight did that. They have like a year pay-per-view pass.
Oh, really? Okay.
Where you can buy all of them, all 5 of them, but it didn't include All In. So that, I don't know. But yeah, that would make sense because rather than pay, $50 every month, and then they know how many people are basically going to buy them, right? So yeah. Or I thought they might do something like how WWF used to have the in your houses, like the non-big events were like shorter but cheaper.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That might work too.
Yeah, that would be okay.
Like it'll be 3 hours instead of 5 hours, but it'll only cost $25 or something.
Right. I mean, I don't mind like the big events. Like it would be just like I couldn't do $70 a month or $60 a month.
Yeah, if they were going to be a full price pay-per-view every month, like I'm not going to pay $60 every single month. Like that's a little much.
Yeah, and the average person's not going to do that. So I have a feeling if they expand it, it's probably going to go through the subscription service like Max or like how Fight did the season pass thing.
Something like that. Yeah.
Because that's just too much to ask. in this day and age where everything's $8,000.
Right, especially because they have ROH too. So technically, if you wanted to get the ROH pay-per-views, there's what 4 of those too. Like that's a lot.
Just real quick. Speaking of that, ROH had a hell of a pay-per-view this week too.
Yeah, I didn't see it, but I've heard really good things.
Same here. I've not seen it, but apparently the women's match is the best women's match ever on American soil.
I've heard that.
Yeah. So
I mean, I expect like the first Willow Athena match was really good. The one on ROH TV.
Yes.
So yes. I would like I believe the hype when they say it was that good.
Yeah. So I'll know in 90 days whenever it gets put on the subscription service.
Exactly.
But before we move on, just a couple little random mishmash notes from the week. What are your thoughts on Taya calling out Britt?
First, I want to point out, you noticed this week Taya was from Victoria, British Columbia again?
I did now. Now that you pointed out last week, yeah.
Now she's no longer she was from Calgary for 1 week, and now she's no longer from Calgary again. I thought that was funny.
That is funny.
Also, she's a heel again.
Yes.
Which is, I mean, she seems to work better as a heel, so that makes sense. I get that they had her be a face so she could face Toni Storm, and because it's in her quote unquote hometown, she was the face. But yeah, I like that she challenged Britt because why isn't everyone challenging Britt realistically? Like
right.
I mean, if once you challenge the champions, which you want the titles, right? You want like the world title or the TBS title. Britt's the next big name, right? Like you want to beat Britt. So like the way Ty did it makes sense. She challenged for the TBS title. She didn't win that. She challenged for the world title. She didn't win that. And then she's like, well, what else can I do? Oh, if I beat Britt, that's a big deal. So yeah, true. I like it.
That's a good. Same here. It gives Britt something to do, which she hasn't had in ages.
Yeah, she just had like that random squash match on Dynamite, so she needs to do something other than that.
Which, hey, the internet was mad about that.
I wasn't mad at it. It didn't
make sense.
It was unnecessary too.
Right.
Like, oh look, Britt. Of course, Britt's gonna win, and she did, and okay, like
right.
All right. And it didn't have a storyline. Like sometimes when they do a squash match, like after the squash match, someone comes out, right, and challenges them or attack. But like nothing. She just had the match, and then match was over, and okay, and it was like 2 minutes long. Like
yeah,
it was. I wasn't offended. Like they didn't give the women a long enough match or whatever. Like yes, they should give the women more matches. They 100% should. But I wasn't upset at that. I was just it was pointless.
Agreed. And something that wasn't pointless, that is kind of overlooked this week. Jungle Boy is dead and buried.
Yes.
And what that little video package they made of him actually burying Jungle Boy was awesome. So
I just love to think of the like if the wrestlers are real and think of like him being like, okay, I need to bury my old self for video. So I'm going to get one of my buddies. Hey, can you be me? And just, I'm going to drag you into a grave and bury you. And my other buddy's going to film it. But it was fun. His new theme song is fine. I don't remember what it was now. It was fine. His new theme.
Oh yeah, it was all right.
It was like a classical something, right? I forget what it was now though. I don't remember.
Yeah, it was like It was fine. Served its purpose.
They did. You're right. They did really bury not only did they bury Jungle Boy, they really buried the Hook losing. Like it was his first loss, and they kind of didn't really mention that at all.
Yeah, they made it. I don't know. It just seemed like I get putting over the title because it's not like a sanctioned title, but Hook losing his first match was way bigger than that title. Sorry.
Yeah, they made it about like, oh, he took the FTW title, which is fine. But yeah, Hook's losing. Like other people have won the FTW title. No one's beat Hook.
Right. And it was shady business.
Right.
Oh, it was so good.
I like how it worked out because like obviously to make him into a big heel, you have him screw Hook for his first loss. You have him take his belt. Like it works. I just thought they should have talked more about. Oh totally. Wow, Hook hasn't lost before. Like yeah.
Totally. And I
when Jade lost. When Jade lost, it was a big deal.
Yes. Yeah. It should have been on the same level.
Yeah.
Same level. Agreed. I did like how Taz took it very hard.
Yes, I like that as well.
That was very cool.
Yeah.
It was just fun. Again, it was fun, and it was typical pro wrestling.
And I like that they acknowledged Taz. Like, not only they acknowledge Taz as his dad, which a lot of time in wrestling they don't acknowledge. Like, if a commentator is someone's kid, a kid is someone is a commentator's kid. But also they acknowledge that Taz would be bothered by that. Like, if you saw your kid get screwed over in a match, like, you would be upset. Whereas in certain companies, WWE, they pretend that, like, well, no, we have no emotional connection to this. It's like, no, you should. Like, if it's your kid, you would care, right? Like,
right. Yeah. And it's, I don't know. It was just fun. Like, again, it was just fun. I know I keep saying that. It's this whole week. That was kind of like the underlying theme. We're just going to have fun this week.
And I think that was specifically the theme of, like, the first half of Dynamite, because the second half was going to be so serious.
Yes. Yeah.
That the blood and guts part was going to be so serious and intense that the first half was just like fun times. And it worked. Like, I liked it. I really enjoyed. I didn't think I would. I watched Dynamite, like, excited to see blood and guts.
Right.
But I didn't think I would care about the rest. The rest of the show was, like, very entertaining.
Yeah, I agree with you. I thought it was going to be like a throwaway and then, hey, it's time for blood and guts.
Right.
But no, it was definitely two separate shows, like you said. But blood and guts was just so good. I mean, well, let's just get right into that. If we're gonna talk about it, we'll lead into it. First off, just your random thoughts. What were your thoughts on the match?
The match was good in the sense that it was obviously violent. There was, like, crazy stunts. There was a bed of nails. There was glass, but it wasn't like ludicrous, if that makes any sense. Like the Hangman Mox match where they had, like, the brick and the chain. That was just like, and then he's gonna pull out this and murder him with it. Like, it was. I get why they did it, but it seemed a little ridiculous. Like, no, if you're hitting a guy in the head with a brick, like, he's dead. Right? Like, you can't.
Right.
You can't. Like, you can't make me think that, like, oh no, after the brick, you're just gonna get up and be fine. Like, no, if I got hit in the head with a brick, like, I'm at least very hospitalized, right? Like,
right, at the bare minimum.
So this made sense because, like, yeah, if you fall on nails or thumbtacks or glass, like, that hurts a lot, but you're not gonna die, right? Like, so it made sense. Like, it was a level of violence that was, like, extreme, but made sense that, like, oh yeah, you could fall on thumbtacks and keep wrestling. It would hurt a lot.
Right.
But, like, you can continue. So yeah, I like the level of violence that they put in. I also like, because this week was the week that, like, quote unquote banned move list came out. And everyone's like, well, now AEW is going to be just like WWE. It's going to be PG. I'm like, no, it's not. They just have to ask. And they did. And then it went on. Like,
and Mox had a bed of nails.
Yeah. Mox was bleeding from, like, his head, his back, his chest, like, everywhere. Yeah, back of his head.
there were legit. I wrote this down, and I was just going to say it. At one point in the match, he's in the corner, and the camera cuts to Claudio, who delivers a clothesline. It cuts back to Mox. Somehow, the left side of Mox's face is just covered in blood. 4 seconds before that, it was not. And I have no idea how it happened, and I've laughed hysterically.
I feel like that's my only knock on this match, and it's an understandable issue. Like, they did miss some stuff. Like, they specifically missed the ending, which I want to talk about more later. But they missed some stuff that happened, and usually I would kind of knock them for that. But, like, there's 10 guys in 2 rings, and, like, I understand how you can't show absolutely everything, because it still has to make sense for, like, the people in the arena, right? Not everyone's gonna. The rest of the match isn't gonna stop while Mox, throws someone on thumbtacks, and then they'll stop, and then now Claudio is gonna put Kenny in a chair, right? Like, I get why they missed stuff, so that didn't bother me as much, but they did miss stuff.
Yeah. My one suggestion that I thought of during the match was, I mean, I understand, like, they're using high-end cameras, this, that, and the other, but we also live in the time of not necessarily a GoPro, but they can mount small cameras inside that cage that they could just cut to. They don't need to be, like, I mean, it'll be odd angles that not moving like a cameraman, but you have a cameraman and then you have those angles too. I think it could be a little more smooth.
Yeah, and they do sometimes do that with like the cameras in the ring post, like in other matches.
Yeah,
they have like the cameras that go in the ring. Like they literally put some iPhones in around the cage, right? Like that video quality is good enough, right? It's obviously not a television camera, but
right.
And you know that, like if they shot the whole show like that, that would be weird. But if they shoot one specific match, that's a good idea. I would like that,
because they're just going to be like cut-ins, like you said. So, they would know that the spot is, Mox will be telling the ref that, hey, cut it pretty soon. Let's cut the Mox. There'll just be a camera on him already. You don't have to worry about a guy hitting his mark and a cameraman being in the right place.
Or even they could show things they missed, right? If they missed like what made Mox bleed, they can just cut to, we have another angle of that. Oh yeah, you can see what happened. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, live and learn, and AEW is good at learning. So
yeah. And I mean, it's definitely a hard match to put on TV for sure.
That was such a terrible statement. AEW is good at learning because the other company refuses to. Like that's like most companies are good at learning.
Right.
Like, we failed at this. We need to do better.
No, in WWE, if you fail at something, they just tell you that, no, actually, we were right all along. We didn't fail. You failed. You were wrong.
Yes.
You failed as a viewer. Yeah.
You failed as a paying customer.
Yes. So what did you think of Ibushi? I heard some less than flattering things about him in this match.
I mean, I thought I was caught up in the moment. I mean, if I'm going to sit here and pick it apart, I don't have any complaints. Like we just said, it's a match with 2 rings, 10 people, a language barrier for him, I'd imagine. I don't know.
And he never worked with AEW before. Like he's worked with some of these people before, but not
true.
AEW.
So I don't know if he can speak English, if he can understand it, maybe, but maybe he I don't know. It is what it is. It's not.
And I think he just flew in for this match. Like it's not like he's been here for weeks to talk it over. Like obviously you could talk online or through text or whatever, but he hadn't run through the match with people as much as probably maybe Mox or something has. Yeah.
Right. And I mean, like I said, it was fine.
That's one thing that I think they missed, and I think not only did they miss it, but I thought they would have played it up more. When Ibushi came in and didn't really save Kenny, but he came and did his thing, and then Kenny was down, and then Ibushi and they were both down, and they kind of held each other, they grabbed each other.
Yeah.
And I thought that was going to be a bigger moment. I thought it was going to be they're reunited. Like this team has been reunited. I thought everything was kind of going to stop, and they would hug or something, being WWE actually did a good job when Edge and Christian were both in the Royal Rumble, and then for some reason they didn't sign Christian, which we'll talk about later. But Edge was in the match, and then a few picks later, Christian came in, and they did their own thing for a bit, and then stopped and hugged each other, we haven't been in a match together for so long, and it was a moment, right? I thought that they would have done the Kenny Ibushi reunion moment would have been bigger than it was.
And I mean, I agree. But maybe there's something in plans for this week.
Right. Yeah.
Like we said earlier, the internet.
I wasn't mad about it. I was just expecting there to be a big reunion thing, and then there wasn't.
Oh,
and I was kind of I thought it was going to be more than that.
And well, speaking of not necessarily the end of the match, but did you see? Claudio mentioned he was kind of upset that they ran out of TV time, and they missed the handshake.
No, I didn't see. I didn't know that was supposed to be on TV. I know it happened. I know the handshake happened, but I didn't know that it was supposed to be on TV.
Yeah, he mentioned it at the Ring of Honor media scrum. He was like, obviously they ran over so it had to end the second that the show ended.
Right.
But the ending with them all hugging and gaining the respect and everything. He basically alluded to that was supposed to be the real ending of the show.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah. But I mean, you figure again, a match like that, everything going on, glass, handcuffs, they're lucky that there was an ending on TV in general.
I mean, the ending did seem. I mean, we'll talk about the ending now since we're here. The ending did seem rushed. They were choking Yuta, and all of a sudden the match is over.
Yeah.
It did seem they're we have to stop it right now. That makes a lot of sense. if they were running short on time and had to stop, because and then they were like, oh, Mox submitted for him, which is fine. Like Mox surrendering for him, it works as an ending. I think they should have done it more dramatically, like had Mox be like chained up and like trying to reach him, and then like not able to reach him. He's like, come on, you guys, don't quit. And then he's like, oh, okay, I have to quit for him. He's gonna die. Yeah. I thought they could have made that more dramatic, but it makes sense if they were running short on time that they had to just kind of end it.
Yeah. And, again, maybe they'll address that this Wednesday. But if not, that's, like I said, the cat's kind of out of the bag on what happened. But it was just interesting to, you get a little peek behind the curtain to see how things really work. But I don't know. I liked how it kind of ended in chaos, because it is a chaos match. But then again, it would have been nice to get that payoff as like, oh, okay, this is now over.
Yeah, I agree. I like the idea of the ending. I like the idea of, Pac getting fed up and walking out, because he was never really with them. So I get that. Like that works. I like the idea of Don Callis going, oh, well, if he's leaving, well, Takeshita doesn't have to stay either. And you get him out of here. Like, I like that. It was rushed, and it would have been better if Pac walked out and then you had Don Callis on commentary be like, oh, well, if he can leave, I don't need to. And like, okay, because then it just seemed kind of weird that like, oh, Takeshi's leaving too. It did. It did seem rushed. I like the idea though, like the idea of Pac being fed up, like, oh, you're gonna, get mad at me for some mistake. Well, fine, I'm done. I don't need to be here. Like, I like that. I like Takeshita and Don Callis just deciding, okay, well, we don't need to be here either. I like the idea of Mox submitting for Yuta, being like, well, he's gonna die, so I have to. Like, Mox was all about violence and never stopping and never showing weakness or anything, but now he's just like, oh, I had to. Like, that's an interesting turn for his character. And I do like that they shook hands at the end, because the BCC's whole thing was like, oh, you're making AEW soft, you're joking around, you're having fun, you're not tough enough. And then shaking hands with them at the end was their way of saying, okay, you are tough enough, like you earned our respect. But it was rushed. I wish that they had a bit more time. Like, if the show had been 10 minutes longer, I think it would have worked.
Right. Well, I'm talking about living and learning. Next year, do you start Blood and Guts with Blood and Guts? Like, is that how you open the show, with the Blood and Guts match?
Yeah, or you open the show. Yeah, maybe like you give it more time. You like give it, maybe you open the show with it, or you dedicate the whole show to it. Like, it's only going to be an hour, the match, but like dedicate the whole show to it with like promos and,
True.
maybe. Yeah, maybe you do. Yeah, maybe you do.
Yeah, because
you can't really follow it. It's hard to put Blood and Guts on and now we're going to have a standard one-on-one match. Like,
that's true.
Yeah, I think they'd have to find a way to give it more time. I hate to give WWE credit, but that's one of the reasons I heard that WWE didn't want to do War Games before, was because like the setup involved and their obvious reason was we can't sell as many tickets if there's two rings, because it takes up more space. But I do think one of their issues was just like the logistics of how we hold this match, and that is tricky. Like, how do you have that match happen? And like, there's no time limit on it, so you can't say, okay, we're going to give it an hour, because what if it goes an hour and 10 minutes? Like, it is, and it's a chaotic thing. And so I don't know how they're going to do it, but maybe start it, half an hour in, and then if it goes short, do something else. I don't know.
Yeah, because you can always take away. Like if you have like, oh, there's going to be a tag team match after, and okay, well, the Blood and Guts ran long. Nobody's going to care if you see a mixed tag, or not a mixed tag match. You know what I mean?
Or something. Yeah. I mean, what they could do, and they'd have to change the name of it, but they could do Blood and Guts and then like the Royal Rampage, and that's it.
Oh yeah, that would work.
Because you can always cut a battle royal. You can always make it shorter, right? Like, if you want it, if you booked it to be 30 minutes and now it has to be 25, like, that's not hard to do.
True. Well, yeah. I mean, even with Rampage being with it being taped, you could even just have it be like full time live and then edit out, during the break, so and so and so and so were eliminated.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Speaking of the Royal Rampage, I enjoyed the Royal Rampage.
Royal Rampage was very fun. I will say I was a little confused. I thought it was for a shot at the world title, not the TNT. So at the end, when they were saying Darby's going to get a shot at the TNT title, I was like, no, he's not.
Last year it was for the world title, but they changed it.
Yeah. And I paid zero attention to that at the beginning and was like just yelling at Excalibur. I was like, no, he's not.
The only thing that confused me was I liked the idea of there being 2 rings. First of all, I also liked that each ring had different colored ropes. I thought that was a fun addition.
That was very cool.
I was confused by, and I think Nick Wayne was confused by it too. What is stopping you from just going in the other ring? And apparently nothing, because he did. He just went in the other ring and helped Darby, and then went back to his ring. But then why didn't the rest of the Mogul Embassy help each other? They could have. Did they not realize that?
Well, see, that's what I thought last year. I just thought you had to go and touch the floor where there was floor, but if you went over the top rope between the 2 rings, that was like touching the floor. That was my understanding last year, which obviously was not right.
They didn't explain that, and that clearly wasn't the case. Yeah.
Now, I mean, that opens up a whole new aspect of how this match can work.
Yeah. I would like them to explain what happens if you go in the other ring. Do you have a certain amount of time? Is it like a count out? You have 10 seconds if you're in the other ring, and if you stay there too long, you get counted out? That would be kind of cool.
Yeah, because then if the Mobile Embassy, they had people in both rings, so Swerve throws someone over and they just jump on the other guy, and they could just hold him down. Oh, that makes it.
Or Swerve is on the verge of being eliminated, but they've been in the ring for they've been in the wrong ring for 8 seconds. Do they risk getting eliminated themselves to help Swerve or something? Yeah, I would like that.
Yeah, that would make it a whole new ball game. A lot of fun.
Yeah, it was a fun match. I liked it.
It was.
I liked the Swerve Mogul Embassy Darby Nick Wayne feud too.
That is a very good feud. And
so I don't know if it's going to continue because now Darby's going after the title, but we'll see.
Right. I also like how AEW will give you background on how they all started up in the Pacific Northwest.
Yes.
And I'm gonna get to
that's because other companies exist to AEW.
And was it Defy Wrestling?
Defy, yeah,
Defy. Okay. Just that little thing, Defy, and if the people that work there were probably elated that their company got national television shout out, but that exists outside of their bubble. And they let people know about it. I just found that, again, we're having to relearn how the real world works. Because WWE changed the rules.
I mean, I can kind of get the point with WWE being, if we tell you about Defy, it's not that you're going to watch Defy and not us. But I mean, there's only so many hours in a week, right? So if you learn about Defy and you spend an hour watching that, you're not. But honestly, just do better then. That's the bottom line. If there's only 3 hours, you only have 2 hours a week to watch wrestling and you choose Defy over SmackDown, isn't that kind of SmackDown's fault? Shouldn't it be better? Right? That's my thinking in that, right? One of them's on national television, the other one you have to find. So if people are choosing to find the other one, it's because you're not that I'm knocking SmackDown, because from what I've heard, WWE is pretty good right now. I haven't seen it, but apparently it's good. So that's fine. Go for it. Be good. But if you have to pretend no other company exists because you're worried that people are going to watch those other companies, that's a you problem, not not anyone else.
Yeah. Just, people are upset that AEW fans aren't mad that Brian Pillman Jr. may or may not have signed with WWE.
Right.
Good for him. I'm happy for him. He used AEW to get his foot in the door someplace else,
right, and he wasn't he legitimately wasn't being used in AEW, so that's the point of having another company. If you're not happy, leave. For all the knocks we make on Cody, and I have more coming up, don't worry, I've planned them. Nice. He wasn't working in AEW. He was like not getting booed for being a heel, as he says now. He was getting booed because people didn't want him there. And yeah, so the fact that he gets to go to WWE and like now people like him and are happy to see him, like, yeah, good. Like, good for you. Right?
Yeah.
Like,
and anybody, like, if
I can't wait to see Brian Pillman's name though, because they're not going to lend me Brian Pillman Jr. and they're going to give him like a Curtis Axel, Braun Breaker type. He's going to be like Billy Cannon or something, right? Like,
totally, yeah, absolutely. I already feel bad for him
with like four N's so they can trademark it.
Yeah.
And then somehow they'll own the rights to Brian Pillman, even though that's his real name. Yeah.
Yeah. No, they'll just put an extra L in it. It'll be PILLLMAN.
Right. But yeah, good for him. I'm happy for him.
Absolutely. And I mean, if anything, he's going to learn more. So
yes.
But we're going to move right along to one career possibly being over.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on the Billy Gunn situation? Out of left field, the Acclaimed losing their match, and he takes the boots off.
Well, here's my first Cody match. Cody reference.
Yeah.
I love how Malachi somehow talks to you, and then you're like, well, I got to retire. And he doesn't take your boots.
Yes.
But it makes sense for Billy Gunn because the whole thing is like he's older. He's been here a lot. They were trying to win one last title for him, and now he's like, I can't do it. So if I can't win this title, I don't want to wrestle anymore. Whereas when Cody did it, it was just I lost a single match in the prime of my career. I quit. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. I lost a single match on a random Dynamite.
Yeah. And I'm like, under, I don't know how old he is, 40 years old. Right. He's just like, well, I can't do this anymore. Right. Like,
overcame Stardust and everything, but Malachi Black.
Single loss to Malachi Black. You got to leave.
That was
too much for him. But I think I was surprised if he actually does leave at this point. I'll get it. Like, it makes sense. It's like, it's not the storybook ending you would have wanted them to book, but it makes sense. Like, storyline wise, like he's done everything and he wanted to win one last title and he couldn't win it. So I don't think he's actually going to be gone though, because I feel like the interest and the money is in him having a retirement match, but maybe not. Maybe that's WWE thinking. Maybe like they've taught us for 20 years that like someone has to put their career on the line to retire, but maybe they don't. Maybe they just decide to retire. So I don't know. What do you think?
I obviously I think it, like, I don't want to say it's like totally a part of the storyline. I think it's going to lead to, it's going to be more story involved, but I think it's going to end like what you just said. They'll talk him into like one more match, and it'll be if we win, then he'll have the titles. But if we lose, like, he'll be like, then I'm done.
Right.
That's what I think is going to happen.
Yeah.
But a lot of people
if that's how he went out, that's a good way to go out. Like yesterday, like the crowd was chanting for him. Like the chat still got it. Like that's if he actually is going to retire, that's a good way to retire.
And shout out to our buddy over on Discord, Luis. I mean, he brought up a good point today. Billy, like, he got to bring his sons in. He got to see his sons become, like, go off on their own and become who they are. He also got to take the Acclaimed and put them on another level. He had possibly the run of his career that wasn't DX.
Right.
And what a way to go out. If that was it, I mean,
yeah,
that was awesome.
Yeah. Did you notice his boots say Gun Club on them still?
I did not.
On the front of the boots, like you pulled like the Velcro part off, and then there was laces underneath. The boots say Gun Club still.
Interesting. That's really cool.
I don't know if that was just those are the boots he likes, and he wasn't going to get new boots, or if that means something.
That's a good eye. I was a little disappointed that they were Velcro. For all these years, I thought those were like actual, I don't know, like an actual belt.
Right.
You had to like feed them through. I don't know why, but I was like, oh man, it's just Velcro. And then
I also do like. Go ahead.
I was gonna say also, how in God's name did that never fall off? That's where's my head went next. Go ahead.
I also like that you can tell like he wanted to make sure that he could take his boot off cleanly and not like struggle with it, because he undid every single lace in the entire boot. And I remember thinking like you could probably go halfway down and get that off. But I know he didn't want to like pull on it and have it not come off and then have to go back and undo more laces. So
right. Yeah.
And if it is the end of his career, he walked out with the crowd chanting, "Oh, scissor me daddy," which isn't that all we want?
Correct.
In life, to be someone to scissor daddy on as you're retiring.
Hey, that's what a way to go out. In the Hall of Fame too. We forgot that. Yes. He's in the Hall of Fame.
Yes.
Unreal.
Yes. Best asteroided gimmick in wrestling history.
Yeah. What unreal. What a week.
Yeah, definitely.
Since when
we're on Collision.
Go. Yes.
We're going to start at the beginning. Want to start at the beginning of Collision?
Yeah, absolutely.
I love the show started with no pyro, and I was like, that's odd. I wonder if they don't want it. And then Ricky got the Cody Rhodesist pyro. Like, Cody sitting at home going like, oh man, I could have got that much.
Well,
it was a Cody-ish level of pyro. It was like he announced the gender of his unborn child. There was so much pyro. It was great.
It was great. And see, everyone keeps saying Cody. No, this was the most Owen Hart thing you could do.
Yes, I agree.
Oh, I was like, he's throwing a party for himself for a tournament that's a yearly tournament that he can never lose because he's the winner of it this year. Like, like he's gonna carry. I hope he carries the belt around all year.
I hope he carries the belt around next year. I hope, like the Slammy that Owen never actually won, but claimed he won.
That's what I was just gonna say. I hope that
I didn't even think of that, but that would be great.
Yeah, because he could lose like every match, but they can't ever take the belt because it's a tournament and it's over.
Owen was supposed to present the Slammy, right?
Yeah.
And then just took it and claimed it was his.
Yeah.
And then did it again the next year. That was great.
Yeah,
Owen was wonderful. He was wonderful. And then he put double Slammy Award winner on the side of his tights. I hope Ricky Starks does that. Owen Hart tournament winner down the side of his. Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah, like him doing that was the most Owen thing. I loved every second of it.
Yeah,
and
it was amazing.
I hope he becomes that like snarky heel.
Yeah.
Like not the typical.
Like just steal Owen's gimmick. Go ahead.
Yes. At this point, it's amazing. It needs back.
it would work really well. Yeah. I didn't even think of the Owen Hart levels to it, but that would be great. I would love that.
Yes.
That was outstanding.
It was just now.
And I loved Punk coming out and being like, I don't want to rain on your parade, and then immediately raining on his parade.
Yeah. Okay. Punk's now came out again and he's claiming he's the champion.
Yes. Which I hope that Ricky would have responded with, but I just beat you, so that makes me the champion. And then
that would have been incredible.
And then claim that he's champion. I hope he would have done. I was hoping for that.
That would have also been the most Owen thing. Well, that means I'm the world champion now. Oh man, that would have been incredible.
Yes, I love them together though. Punk and Ricky, they do great.
Now, like obviously the old belt is in Punk's bag. Do you think they're gonna have two belts? We're gonna have to unify something, or is this just gonna be part of Punk's like old crabby old man gimmick?
I hope it's part of his crabby old man gimmick. I don't want there to be two belts and have them unify that because that would be weird. I love Ricky coming out with a bag and be like, "Oh, there's nothing in this bag. I just wanted to show off my bag."
Yeah, he's like, "I just wanted to show off my new Louis bag." That was awesome.
His promo at the beginning was so great. Like, because Tony Schiavone was like, "What do you think about the way you cheated?" He goes, "Why don't we talk about how great I look tonight?"
yeah, and how handsome I am.
That was great. It was so good. But I hope that the second belt thing is just Punk's an angry old man. And I hope he gets progressively more like disillusioned where now he thinks he's the champion. I hope he I hope he gets like a like a meta version of best in the world. Whereas 10 years ago when he said he was the best in the world, like it was because he legitimately could have been the best in the world.
Right.
I hope now it's like he loses several matches and is like, well, I'm the best in the world. And it's just like clings to it. I hope that's where he goes. That would be great.
That would be absolutely incredible.
I hope that's. And speaking of absolutely incredible, Christian.
Yes, Christian. As I started the show, what kind of man carries around a title that he hasn't won himself? What a line!
I hope we get. We probably won't, but I hope we get a Christian Punk match and a Christian Punk promo before that match, because that would be outstanding.
Oh, that would be.
I know they're both kind of heelish, so they can't really. I know Punk's like the quasi face heel, like he thinks he's a face. He's doing the thinks he's a face, but he's actually a heel thing, which again Cody should have done.
Right.
But yeah, Christian is great. Him slipping up and being like, well, since we are the TNT champion.
Yeah.
I even like that he made an excuse for why he was there, being like, well, we're contractually obligated to be on the show because it's on TNT, but now we're going to leave. I just wanted to come out and say that you shouldn't be carrying a belt that's not yours. Now I'm leaving.
It was so incredible. And that he wrestles in a sleeveless turtleneck.
Yes.
And he shredded.
Yeah, I love his reasoning online too. I wore the sleeveless turtleneck because I would make everyone else look bad, which he would. He looks incredible. He's like 50 years old. He's almost 50. Yes. He looks incredible.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I knew he wasn't that much older than me. Obviously he was because when him and Edge came up, I think I was in 10th grade and they were already 20-ish. So let's see, I'll be 44 this year. So yeah, he's 5 years. So I was probably 14, 15 when imagine that being 20 or 19 and in WWF.
Yeah, I know.
Unreal.
I know.
So yeah.
And I like Darby coming out because that made sense. I mean, they kind of explained it. I forget who mentioned it. It was Ian Riccaboni, or I think it was Ian Riccaboni mentioned that. No, Darby was Punk's first opponent, and then they kind of had a little trio thing with Sting. It made sense. It wasn't just Darby coming out for no reason. And I like Darby coming out, getting a pop from the crowd, being like, just like my buddy CM Punk, and then the crowd didn't know what to do. We like Darby, but do we boo? I'm not sure.
Is Collision Punk's love letter to professional wrestling?
Yeah, and he's Collision is, I don't know. I love Dynamite. I'm not saying it's better than Dynamite. Right. I'm saying they've managed to make them so completely different that you can. I was excited for Dynamite to be I want to see blood and guts and the MJF Cole stuff. And then Collision, it's just, I'm excited for totally different things. I want to see the matches. I want to see Bullet Club. I want to see Punk. And they haven't split the roster specifically. Darby was obviously on both shows. FTR is on both shows. MJF has been on both. They haven't, but it still feels different, even though it's not a hard split. They've done such a good job.
And that answers the question when they kept saying, well, it's not a hard split. It's not going to be a real, it's not maybe even not considered a real split, blah, blah, blah. Well, that answers it now as you see it.
Yeah.
It works perfectly. And I mean, like we say every week, it's almost like it's a different company, but it's the same company.
It to me feels more different, Collision and Dynamite, than I don't know, I haven't seen too much of it recently, but the difference between Dynamite and ROH, even though that is supposed to be a separate company.
Yeah, that's a good analogy. Perfect analogy, actually.
And they've done a really good job at it. I love both shows. They've made both shows super interesting, and for different reasons. It's been great. And you're right, it is kind of Punk's love letter to pro wrestling. And from what I've heard, it's backstage stuff, whatever. But apparently he's super proud of the fact that he kind of gets this show, and obviously not his show, but he's the draw on the show. And all of them kind of seem like that. I do kind of I thought when they put the Island of Misfit Toys, the Andrades and Punks and Miros all on the same show, that it was going to be well, we're mad, and it's going to be we're anti-authority show. But no, it's kind of, it made sense. Oh, we're going to put them all on this show, and okay, let them prove themselves, let them do what they want and have them prove themselves. And it worked. Right.
Everything is just interesting on it. There's not
even simple stuff like Andrade, them saying, "Oh, we are banned from the arena because last week you came out and interfered in the match, and we don't want you interfering again." Like that makes perfect sense, of course. Yeah.
And Andrade brought it right to his Twitter account. Did you see he posted sometime today that, last time he got a little hot-headed and he had to spend a couple months at home, like AKA the fight with Sammy.
Right.
And he said, so this time, he's a little more level-headed, and once he calmed down, he realized that they were right. And I just thought that was a really cool little thing.
Yeah, that is cool. You saw it. I didn't see that, but I like it.
Yeah, if you saw it, you saw it. If you didn't need to know. But
yeah,
just a little extra.
Yeah, that's how you use, like, the Bucks have always done that with, like, the BTE episodes and stuff. Like, you don't need to watch them. You don't need to follow them on Twitter. You don't need to follow the storyline. You don't need to pay attention to that stuff. But if you do, it's like a little extra.
Right. It's like a little thank you to, being an extra fan.
Yeah.
Now, since they announced that Brody King is going to be banned from the building during the match, is Roosh going to return?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, there's been a lot going on with Roosh, and I don't know. I think he's probably when they're talking about how he's posting photos of his brother who works in WWE and being like, oh, my contract's running out. Like, I feel like that's working a little bit.
Yeah.
So that it's more of a surprise when he does come back. So yeah, maybe he shows up. That would be cool.
That's and just what's his name? Jose, the assistant, said something like, you'll be seeing something very soon from us. And they're not going to announce they're not both going somewhere. If you know what I like. Yeah. He said, you'll hear from us. I don't know.
Right. Yeah. That would be cool. I would like that.
Yeah, and it would make sense because House of Black would be down a guy.
Right.
You could bring in Roosh and 10, and then it's 3-on-2.
So why is Brody King banned but not Malachi Black?
That's a good question.
I didn't even know Brody King was banned. I guess I didn't pay attention to that part, but that's a little odd.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know why. Yeah, it is very interesting to make it so it's 3-on-2. How about that?
Yeah, there you go.
To make my stupid scenario come true.
There you go, and that's probably the actual reason.
Well, it's pro wrestling.
That's right.
Yeah, but do you have anything else you'd like to hit this week, sir?
I just really like I like how all the CM Punk matches, and first of all, I love the response he gets from the crowd because it's like, it's half love, it's half hate, it's half like I just love how his matches are just like yelling and noise. Like in the crowd. Yes. I don't know. I think it was during the commercial break at one point. It wasn't you probably wouldn't have heard the sound for it. But there was just one time where just people were yelling, some people were chanting CM Punk, some people were like booing them down, and then it was just like angry noises for like just the crowd just like blah, 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 blah. It was great. I love it. Like the show I went to, like Collision I went to, and Forbidden Door, like it was like people would chant CM Punk and then people would boo them and then they'd just chant CM Punk louder and then they'd boo louder, and it was just like his matches have just turned into like angry crowd versus like happy crowd. Like it makes it, oh, this is a big thing because look how like animated the crowd is. It's great. It adds to it. I love it.
And he's so good at what he does. I mean, we always talk about like MJF too. He has the crowd eating out of his hand 1 second, and then the next second they're booing him. But Punk does it in a way where, like you're right. It's the people are already locked in. Like the hatred for him is real.
Yes.
But the love for him is real too.
Yes.
It's not,
and he knows that, and he like plays it up, and like even Darby being like, I'm gonna be friends with CM Punk. How do you react to? You could tell that all their faces were like, how are you gonna react to that? Like they know that it's great.
Yeah,
I think it's fun, so much fun.
I love it. Oh, it's the most interesting thing on AEW right now.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just great. I love it.
Great week of TV. Even Rampage this week. Great week of TV.
Yeah, very, very good week. His other than the Andrade match. Has anything else been announced for Wednesday?
So next week we have the FTR, Adam Cole, MJF stuff, which will be fun. Really fun on Collision.
Oh yeah.
Britt Baker, Taya on Dynamite, so that'll be fun.
Okay.
Now also on Dynamite, Pac versus Gravity. I have no idea who Gravity is. I thought it was a pun. I thought because like I think Pac's name when he was Neville in NXT, his like catchphrase was the man that Gravity forgot, and I'm just like, is this incredible. A pun? Like, are they only doing this for pun purposes? But like, no, apparently he's somebody. Do you know who he is?
Well, from what I read on the internet today, it's apparently like an old rivalry from I don't even know where, but they have wrestled before, but it's an old rivalry. So I'm sure Excalibur will tell you the whole history in about 14 seconds.
Yeah.
While one of them's on their way to the ring.
Yes. And then we also have Orange Cassidy versus AR Fox for the international title. That'll be fun.
Yeah. How many is he at? About what, 26 now, right? 27?
I think so. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't see how he makes it to All In, but he has to.
I know.
Like he has to.
I know.
At this point.
Oh, we also have Mox and Claudio against the Lucha Bros against Best Friends.
Oh, on Wednesday. Okay. On Wednesday.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So that'll be fun. Lots going on.
Yeah, lots going on.
And Darby and Swerve on Wednesday. So there you go. We've also got that.
Oh, geez. Wow.
So
they announced a lot. Yeah, they announced a lot so far.
It'll be fun. I'm excited.
Absolutely. I cannot wait. Well, do you have anything else before we go here?
No, I'm good. Again, like, share, subscribe, rate, tell your friends, X about it. Do whatever you can.
X about it. I had no idea what you were talking about for a second. That was great. I literally thought you made a DMX joke for a second. Yeah. Anyways, back on track. Like, subscribe, share. Add Elite City Pod everywhere.
Yes.
Oh, that rhymed.
And my question of the week, I have a question of the week for you.
Oh, yes.
Question of the week. Who turns on who? MJF or Adam Cole? That's the question.
Good question. I'm sticking with MJF just because history.
Yeah, I think that would make the most sense. MJF to turn. It would make the most, especially if you're setting up a match. Like Adam Cole turning on him would doesn't really set up a match as much as. Yeah, I think it'll be MJF.
But then again, like you always say with these blind eliminator championship matches, eventually someone's going to win one. So eventually MJF is going to be genuine and just blow up in his face.
That's true. That's true.
So we'll find out. But until next week, everyone say hi to Biddy online, and she'll be back in a couple. So
we miss you, Biddy.
Bye. Oh yeah, we miss you, Biddy. Have fun. Be nice to each other. See you next week. Later.